This is John McEntee here for the Rock Fantasy Files, and we're here with for a very special show about my friend Killjoy from Necrophagia. Unfortunately, he passed away in was it 2018? Or it's crazy to think it's already been that long. And I just want to do a special show, kind of talking about the importance of Killjoy in the music scene, just the personally how much of an influence he was musically on myself, and just wanted to do something special for somebody that was really an important part of my life and ended up becoming a friend on top of it, which just makes the situation for me personally more special. um yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just start off. Well, first of all, I guess I'll just introduce everybody. We have is that Mariah here from Sigh, who also played in Necrophagia. He came here, so we appreciate him. We have Titta, who also, am I saying it right? Titta? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's good.
Okay, who you played drums at the same time, actually, as Mariah, I think, did in the 2000s, early 2000s. Then we
Yeah.
have some people you guys are gonna have no idea who he is. Jeff Dunn. I don't know. You might know him as Mantas. I don't know. He played in some small band, some local stuff, nothing important. And and then we have Adam and Caitlin, who were good friends with Killjoy. I don't know exactly how long you've been good friends with them, but I know every time I've seen you guys together, it was quite some time, and actually probably how I got properly introduced to him. So it's really it's important. So thanks everyone for joining me. I appreciate it. Um,
Awesome. Thank you too.
and
Yeah.
okay, well, I'll just start with my story on Necrophagia. I was a teenager in the 80s, and I got into tape trading somewhere late, maybe 86 or 87-ish, probably 86-ish. I got into tape trading, and I remember hearing some of their early demo material and just being totally blown away by it, because it was just so raw and so heavy and really just forward thinking, and I just remember really being into it. I got one of their songs on a compilation. I think it was Speed Metal Hell or Raging Death. It was on New Renaissance Records. And I think it was a song Power Through Darkness, and it really just blew my mind. And then I remember once I heard their first album, um, what's it?
Season of the
Seasons
Dead.
of the Dead. I know my brain. I see. I get nervous doing this. I told you. Seasons of the Dead. When I heard that, it just totally blew my mind. I mean, it was something. It was totally brutal, totally dark and evil, but it also had a totally different flavor than the other stuff that was coming out at that time, and it really just attracted me to it even more, because it was just something you could just tell something special. And I realized now, what I really liked about it was the fact that he was trying to do like this horror theme in with the music, which was there was a lot of horror theme in metal at the time, especially death metal and extreme metal and stuff. But for me, he was doing it more in a way where he almost wanted to like narrate a story, or like tell a story about something. And I just thought it was a really interesting vibe. And I think if you listen to his later material, he kind of, just kept moving in that direction as far as trying to kind of, do something that was different and like distinctively um original to the Necrophagia sound and to what he wanted to do. It wasn't like fitting in with the trends of death metal at the time, I mean. And I the thing that I really have a problem with is that I think that Killjoy doesn't get the credit he deserves for the death metal scene, because you have, of course, you have people like Chuck Schuldiner and other people from that time that were extremely important in help developing extreme metal. But Killjoy was, right there around the same time doing extreme stuff in a similar and also a different way than that. And I think a lot of people forget that a lot of the bands that people like these days in the death metal genre, especially, were influenced by Necrophagia. And for some reason, it just he just, maybe because, his stuff, he really started running with the band more in the early 2000s, getting out there more. Maybe it's just because of a time thing of, not consistently putting stuff out, say like a band like Death did or whatever. But for me, it's just as important as, any of the Death material. And personally for me as a songwriter musician, it's actually he's more important than even Death, because the stuff I do with my band Incantation was really, I mean, I just know we were super influenced by Seasons of the Dead when I played it for all the guys in the band. Everyone really liked it, really liked that vibe. But even though we wanted to go with the more darker satanic kind of vibe, closer to like a Possessed or something like that, we still really musically were really influenced by it. And that influence of having that um eerie horror movie soundscape, I guess, as part of the writing of the music, directly came from that. I mean, there were other bands too, to be fair. There were bands like Necrovore and, like I said, Possessed and Venom, of course, a bunch of bands from that era that influenced us, Sodom or whatever. But Necrophagia were definitely at top of the list. So, I personally have it personally means a lot to me. And if anyone has seen me play in the last, well, since 2018, most of the shows I played, at least for the Profane Nexus tour that we did, which was our last album, I purposely wore a Necrophagia shirt at all the shows, unless there was a problem where I freaking lost it or I, couldn't find it or whatever. But I wore the shirt every single night in dedication to Killjoy because, you know, I was, I hate to say it, but I was kind of really disappointed that when he did pass away, it wasn't as a, like a lot of times people pass away and all of a sudden everyone likes them. It's a big thing. And you see everyone post about it on the internet. And I did see a lack of really people even caring that he passed away. And it really bothered me. And
Yeah.
I wore the shirt, not because I wanted to, do, whatever. I wore it personally because I felt like I owed him, what I'm up here playing, and I owe that to him. He's one of the people that helped me be here and helped me create the music that I play, and I have to show honor to that. And if you know, maybe other people don't, they don't realize the importance to it, but if it helps bring up the discussion, it helps other people learn about, the music that, maybe in my genre of death metal, they don't really notice so much. I was just hoping that, because I mean, some people would come up to me and ask me about it, and there would be people that would, give a nod to me and know, oh yeah, that's really cool that you wore that shirt. Like they know why, like, the guys from Repulsion and other bands would see it and be like, oh, okay, that's super cool that you wore that shirt. Like they know what the deal is. So it's just a nice thing. It's something I had to do for myself because I never take for granted what I have musically and all the stuff that I've been fortunate enough to do as a musician and stuff. But I also, without a doubt, always appreciate the people that helped me get to where I'm at, and also the bands that have influenced me into doing it. So anyway, enough of my bullshitting and high horse stuff. I just had to say that because it's something that was personally really important to me. But anyway, let's get to, I guess we'll go with, was it Mariah first? I just wanted to ask, well, I guess I don't really have to ask you, but just, tell us about your time in the band or your relationship, how you, what, say, Necrophagia means to you and, your contribution, just anything about it that would be interesting for people to hear. It would be really super cool to hear that. Oh, I'm sorry. That's for you, Mariah. Or am I saying it wrong? No, you hear me? No, is muted? I don't know.
Oh, do you hear me?
Oh yeah, I hear you now.
Oh,
Somehow you got
had.
muted. Okay, it
Yeah,
happens.
because it seems the connection is a little bit bad, but yeah, the it's the same with me as you, because the first time I heard Necrophagia was from 1986 or 87 on New Renaissance records like Speed Metal Hell and Thrash Metal Attack, like you said, Power Through Darkness and Young
Yes.
Burial. I was blown away because it's so bad in a good way.
Yes.
It was outstanding. Maybe Wehrmacht and Necrophagia were two outstanding bands.
I agree. I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I bought Season of the Dead in 1987, and which was very shocking too. Like you said, like Killjoy was just talking over the music. It's quite different from any other thrash metal or death metal. So it was really cool that he just, he was just talking completely out of the rhythm. So that was one of the great thing about Necrophagia. But once I got into the band, I realized that he just couldn't keep up with the rhythm. That was the reason. Yeah, maybe Tita remembers it, because when he was recording the vocals, the guitarist was standing in front of him and kept giving him the cue like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, or else he couldn't keep the rhythm at all. So that was a reason, yeah. So
it was cool, but it was cool.
Yeah. So yeah, so I was before that I was thinking it was intentional to make some horror atmosphere, but it was not. It was just a lack of talent.
But some of the best music, it comes from the lack of talent. So
that's right. Maybe that's true. Yes.
Yeah, I guess so too. Yeah, I'll fess up.
Yeah, right. And in the end of 90s, I had a website about new Renaissance records because I really liked the bands from the bands like At War and Necrophagia, Postmortem, and that kind of stuff. And nobody cared about nobody cared about new Renaissance records then. So I made a website about it. Then all of a sudden I got an email from Killjoy. Then he told me the Necrophagia was back again, and now he had a guitarist named Phil Anselmo or something like that. So that was
somebody.
Yeah, that was
no name. You're like, who's that?
Yeah. That was the first contact with Killjoy.
Yeah. And before you were in the band, though, I don't think he had really keyboardist in the band, right? Because that's what he wanted you as, a keyboardist. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. Because I sent some stuff from Sigh, and probably he came up with an idea to add a keyboard, like the influence from the bands like the Goblin and Fabio Friccin and that kind of stuff. Probably
Yeah, well, I mean, the stuff you do with Sigh is definitely, it makes sense that he'd want to connect with someone like you, because I think the Sigh stuff is very, I don't know, cinematic or something like that. If that's the right word, so it kind of fits in.
Yeah, of course, I liked horror movies a lot. Of course, not as much as Killjoy did, but he told me a lot of things about horrors from 70s and 80s, and he gave me a lot of DVDs, and so yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Well, that's definitely awesome. Okay, we'll go to Titta next.
So nice to meet you, everyone. So I want to say hello to Mirai, but it's very far, and we are still in contact. So it's
that's awesome.
Yeah. My first touch with Killjoy was on the magazine, because in Italy it was so difficult to find something about Necrophagia. So it was something like 98, 99. And I always read about Black Blood Vomitorium, the album, on the magazines. And I said, what a crazy project is this? So it's always, they talk about Killjoy.
We lost you for a second. Is it? Are you there?
Hear you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. We just lost you for a second. I'm sorry.
Okay. Maybe the connection.
Yeah.
And we have the curfew now, so it's maybe the connection is still for the virus now. Okay, enjoy. So in 2000, I went with the Goblin to play at the Cult Convention in New Jersey, in Terrytown, the Sleepy Hollow city,
Yeah.
And so I met Killjoy in that occasion. He was drunk like hell, totally wasted, totally
Yep.
wasted.
Yeah.
And after
like
the
him.
concert, after the concert, we met in this big hotel. He said, "Oh wow, this is very very cool concert. I love Goblin, I love Simonetti and all the stuff." And that's it. He was sitting on the pavement, totally wasted, something like this, you know. And after we stayed in touch with the mail and something like this, and he asked for, I'm looking for a drummer. You want to play with Necrophagia because we are start again. And I said, oh wow, it will be difficult because Italy, America, you know, the connection.
Yeah.
Japan, Norway. So I said, okay, the train is passing, so I want to try, because the music I like always heavy metal, you know, metal and something like that.
Yeah.
So I just tried, and the rest is funny stories with Mirai and Norway. A European tour, a very crazy European tour, a very crazy US tour. But I met him, I think 1 year before he passed away, because he played in Venice.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing with Goblin 200 kilometers away from the venue. So after the sound check, I took the car, going very fast to Venice, and we had a lot of photos. We had the chance to big hug, so it was very emotional time. I think it was 1 year before he passed away, so I was very happy to take the car and say hello to him for the last time. So it was good.
Yeah, that's a good thing for sure. Yeah, that actually reminds me, we were working on getting a European tour with Necrophagia too, and it was just it was annoying because our booking agent just kept like postponing it, and just something was getting screwed up every freaking time, and it's one of those things that really I wanted to do it, and everybody in the band knew that I really wanted to do it, more just because I wanted to do it, and do it with Necrophagia, to hang out with Killjoy and stuff, and everybody was cool with doing it, but it never ended up coming together. And it was one of those things that I really, I regret now because of, what happened. I mean, obviously I didn't know that. No one expected that to happen, but I am fortunate because, we did get to play a song with them live at, what was it, Hell's Headbangers Head Bash, probably 6 months or 8 months before he passed away. We did Abominations with him at the show. And yeah, it was pretty funny because now that I think about what Mirai said about him not being able to keep on time with the vocals, yeah, he really wasn't on time on the vocals, but I was super happy because I just it was just I remember because he hasn't sung the song for a while, so he has his lyric sheet down. He just started like babbling out the words and stuff, and I there was only, luckily, Katelin had a phone video of some of it because no one filmed the full song, but it was just kind of funny because I knew when he was playing that the lyrics were all screwed up, but for me personally, I was just so happy because, it's great. It's great when you get to do something with, somebody that you looked up to, or you still look up to, but you looked up to as a, younger metalhead, to be able to actually perform with them in some sort was like, okay, I got to fulfill one of my, one of my dreams in life. He helped, me accomplish. So I was super happy about that. But okay, well, next we'll go to Katelin and Adam.
Cool. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. When the one thing I'm curious about, I mean, how long have you known him? When did you start? When did you get to meet him? How that all come about?
I met Kill, it was early 2000s.
Yeah.
I worked at a local record store, and I knew who he was because I was a fan, but
Yeah.
he'd come in and he'd shop, and I wouldn't bug him. I never asked for an autograph, nothing like that. Just let him do his thing. And we got to know each other, and he'd bring me promos. Like he brought me like Harvest Ritual right before he moved to Florida, and Divine Art. And we talked about it. He'd stop in and we just chat. He'd want to know what I thought about the music and how the new album sounded. We talked about horror movies, obviously. And I think it was 2004. That's when he moved down to Florida for about 6 years. And I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I was just out of college and I wasn't on the whole cell phone kick. So I'd see him maybe once a summer. He'd stop back and visit his kids. And then it was probably July 2010, around there. I was off work one day and I went in the next day. They were like, "Oh, your good friend was here. He was looking for you." I was like, "Oh, well, who was it?" Not thinking it was going to be him. So I kept asking, "Well, who came in? Who came in?" And then I come in the next day. They told me he was going to come back. And the sensor alarm goes off on the front gate. And here comes KJ walking through the door with this big, huge box of CDs and tapes and everything to trade in. And I hadn't seen him for maybe 2 years at that point. And, he moved back and we just kind of picked up where he left off, just hanging out, having drinks, watching movies, listening to our favorite records, which usually was at least a couple hours of just straight Motley Crue, nothing else. That was one of his favorite bands of all time, And we listened to like our normal stuff, but then after a certain point, it was Motley Crue, Hanway Rocks, stuff like that, just having fun. And then when Kate and I started dating, that was 2013.
Yeah.
And then of course, I introduced them and just kind of went from there. We did everything together, camping, movies, hanging out, bonfires, horror conventions, shows, just everything, that's my best friend. That was my brother,
Yeah.
And just that was life until everything changed,
Yeah. Holidays, everything. I mean, I knew of Kill obviously from Necro and everything, but I got to meet him indirectly at Cinema Wasteland, the horror convention in Strongsville that happens twice a year. So that was really awesome to be, because obviously Adam and I were dating for about a year. Adam was supposed to go to that convention, got stuck at work. So I ended up going up to him and introducing myself. He was with Jez at the time and stuff, and his long-term girlfriend at the time. And that's really when we first started to kick everything off. But I mean, it just really became like life was shit without him. You know what I mean? Like we just felt like the world was dead unless we were together. Like, not to sound like, dramatic, but I mean, we did holidays together. Like it just was to the point where if we were gonna do anything, it was, "What are you doing, Kay? Like, where are we going? What are we doing? Who's meeting where are we staying?" You know what I mean? And it just sucks more than I could explain that it got cut too short,
Yeah.
And it's like, he was on tour and then he was sick and he wasn't feeling too good. And when he finally got to come over for Christmas, it was March of it was 3 weeks before he passed.
Yeah.
We finally got to have our Christmas, and it was just like surreal. It was just like, I got the phone call on the 18th, just out of nowhere. Like after we literally talked every single night, you know what I mean? It was just constant texting and jokes and memes and bullshit, but serious stuff too, So yeah.
I know it's difficult because I mean I was talking to him too on the phone beforehand, but I didn't actually meet him really in person, like properly, until I seen you guys, just out about at shows and stuff like that. And I really got to know him. And for me, it was just really great because he was I keep saying he was an influence and inspiration to me, with the music he was creating, but he also just embraced me just as, any normal person would just hang out and have a good time. And it's just nice when you meet somebody. I mean, okay, maybe to him, he doesn't feel like a super important, inspirational figure in the metal scene. But for me, personally, he was, and he never, he always treated me like a good friend. It always came across really happy to see me. We just had a fun time every time hanging out. So, and I could totally understand, you being, so close to, him, how, affected you even more personally than probably most, which is, really, really sad to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go to Jeff next. Yeah, I know it's difficult. It's sad to hear this, but there's also, there's a lot of really positive stories about him too, but part of it is also the, missing a friend and missing someone that, some you've worked with or toured with and whatnot. So it's, it's both sides, but yeah. So take it away, Jeff.
Well, I'm gonna start this just by showing everybody. I don't know if you can see that, but that was the last photograph we had taken together.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And that was outside a cinema opposite the Alamo. We were on tour together, and when I think it was, we did two American tours together, Venom Inc. and Necrophagia, and I'm sure it was either 2015, 16 or 16, 17, one of those anyway, but it was 2 consecutive American tours we did. And we were sharing a bandwagon together. So it was a 7-berth bandwagon. And it's well known that I'm not a people person. I like my own space and everything. And it was like, well, I wasn't that familiar with Necrophagia at all, So the first person I saw when we pulled up to get on the bus was Killjoy, standing outside having a cigarette. So I went across and I introduced myself. And for some reason, don't ask me why, but we just connected. He was, I don't know, he was a lovely guy. Yeah, I'll show you something else. He actually bought me this at the end of one of the tours, the last tour we did together. He gave me that. It's a little globe. It's a little bouncy ball, right? Silly. But he gave me that. And he said, that is so we always know where each other is in the world. And I was like, oh my God. And the last text message he sent me, which is still on my old phone, I remember this text came through and it just said Killjoy. And I opened the text and all it said was, love your guts. I was like, fucking hell, that's good. And you were saying about the horror movies. On both tours, he brought the most god-awful B movies onto the DVDs. And he would get me and sit me down and go, right, we gotta watch this, man. This is a classic. And I'm sitting there going, Killjoy, this is fucking shit. This is terrible. And I remember he showed me the movie that he had made as well. It was just gore and puking and blood and shit from start to finish. It was amazing, There's a great tale about him. We had been, I think it was the first tour, we had been on the bus for about 2 weeks together, right? And every morning you'd see him standing there brushing his teeth and all that. And he had this toothpaste, it was like brown and it was foaming all over the place, right? So and after 2 weeks, he came out of the bathroom at the back and he went, guys, and we went, what? He said, this toothpaste, right? And he says, I bought it in Walmart because they had an organic section. And he says, but I didn't have my glasses on. I just seen organic toothpaste, but it was fucking dog toothpaste. It was for pets. And he had spent 2 weeks brushing his teeth with this stuff. It was unbelievable. And I remember, I think it was the second tour. He found out that I did martial arts, right? I hadn't said anything, but he found out that I did martial arts. So it was after the show, they had done this, we had done ours. So we're relaxing in the bus. And he'd had a few drinks, as usual. And I didn't realize, but he had done a little bit of boxing in his youth, right? So he gets up and he's like, oh, come on, show me something. And he's like this with his hands up, So he came towards me. So I just reacted. I put him in a headlock, put him down on the ground, and we're just play fighting on the ground, So then he said, right, what would you do if I did this? And he come charging towards me. He says, in a boxing mode, well, I'm trained in like taekwondo and kick, so I use my feet as well. So instinctively, I just went wallop, right, front kick, right in the guts. He folded in half, right, rolled back up the bus. Oh, the poor guy! I'm not kidding you. But we had this thing on one of the tours where we had to try and get something from the venue, right? We had to take something from the venue, just something small from the venue, right? And I remember he brought me. We got matching cups because one of the things he loved to do, he would always come down the bus and say, "Earl Grey tea, darling," you know, and we'd have a cup of Earl Grey tea together, you know, and there were stolen cups from a venue. But he came on the bus. The bus, I think it was after a few weeks, the bus was it was filthy. It was absolutely filthy. So he came on the bus after one of the shows, laden with cleaning products, a mop, a hoover, that he'd stolen out of the backstage area. Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. But we did plan. We said we were going to do something. This is why I'm wearing this T-shirt, because he loved this T-shirt when I wore it, and I bought this on holiday when I was on holiday with my girlfriend on vacation. It was just a street seller had these T-shirts. Like, oh, I really like that. And it's got the same on the back, and he loved it because it's a bit sparkly and stuff, you know. And I was going to give him the shirt, but it just wouldn't fit him. So I was looking for it. I never found it again. And then obviously the inevitable happened. But we had spoken about doing something together. And I recorded all the guitars for it. The bass is done for it. I've got to reprogram the drums, but we were going to do the track Unholy by Kiss. And he was going to sing it. So it's all ready. So I'm going to finish it off. I'm going to do the vocals. I'm going to dedicate it to him, everything like that. He was just a lovely, lovely guy. And I mean, I got the news of him passing. I was on a European tour. This was 2018, where we had been to Australia, Asia. We'd been all over the place. We'd actually been in Japan. We then, after Japan, I think it was Thailand, and then on to Australia, New Zealand, blah, blah, blah. We got home, we had 1 day's rest, we had a rehearsal, and then we went on a European tour. On the European tour, I got the notice that he had passed away. It was like, holy shit. I mean, you know, you were saying about he didn't have the healthiest lifestyle. And I mean, you know, he liked to drink after shows and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And he smoked like a trooper, you know, but that was him. That was Killjoy, you know. And I remember on the tours, he had a couple of prima donna moments on the bus, you know, never with me though. You know, I remember one night, and he was drunk out of his mind, and he threw this prima donna thing, and I just went, "Oh, Killjoy, shh, calm down." No. He was like that, you know. But what a lovely guy. But like I say, he had the heart attack. Then when I got back off the tour, I had a heart attack. You know, I was clinically dead for 5 minutes. I was lucky that they got me back. And then the photographer who was on our tour, who was a good friend, then he had a heart attack. So 2 good friends either side of me both had the same thing, and they passed away, you know. And, you know, like I say, I was never that much aware of his music as much as you guys are. You know, but I've got a load of albums over there that he gave me on one of the tours. He went, "That's for you," you know. And I can't even remember the name of the song, but I used to listen to this song. It was the last song they played in the set every night, and it was fucking excellent. I'm really sorry, I can't remember the name of the song, but I love that particular track. But, you know, I mean, this little globe thing, this is my studio where I do everything. And this little globe is up there beside all my memorabilia. I had to reach up and get it down just to show you guys. But he's...
Oh. Oh, I lost you just for a second. I don't know if everyone lost you, but I lost you for the last. I lost you after the globe, so I didn't know what you said.
Oh, right at the beginning.
but no, but okay, that's cool. But yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, it's really awesome to hear the funny stories, and it definitely brings back memories of just hanging out with them and just that positiveness that it just seemed like when he's seen his friends, he just really made you feel like he was excited to see you, like really happy kind of thing. So I totally get that, and that was super cool. But yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, I guess just if anybody else, like either so Mariah or Titta has any like funny tour story or something kind of positive, maybe to just bring to the table, because it'd just be great to kind of end this with just everyone's bringing up some super cool positive story about Killjoy.
Mirai, can I?
Go, sure.
Okay. I just remember, Mirai, you remember in Nottingham?
Nottingham.
We did
I don't know.
rehearsal for the European tour.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The first day. Yeah.
The first day, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember he was so wasted by absinthe.
Oh yeah.
You remember? It was screaming, yelling in the room. Fred Diablo, where is Fred Diablo? Something like this. And I was shocked because I don't drink at all. I'm no alcoholic person, so I don't drink. So I was shocked because I was entering in the room. I remember clearly, like yesterday, there was Mirai on the bed, on the Casto bed, and all the guys watching this kind of snuff movie. I was something like, I was entering and watched the television and said, what you're fucking looking at now? It was a really, really crazy movie made from Fred Vogel. I don't know if you guys know. No, it was sick, I was something like that. Okay, I leave. I go to the bed. Okay, it's okay. There is cutting nipples and a very strange movie. But is because Fred came with us to do something like a road movie for the European tour. So it was nice, but it was nice about the kind of character he's got, Frank. So it was a really not so tall guy, but really, really brave. So, because we had one time in France that Fred Diablo's got a really, really bad alcoholic drunk or something like it. It was dangerous because he's a Norwegian guy that is very, very big. It was something like he punched the tour bus. You remember me, right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember.
You are here, It was we were in France, and Fred was so totally mad about the alcohol, And Killjoy can go outside, and he was something like 2 meters tall. Maybe Fred Diablo is something like 190. He's very big. And he took away, come in the bus and shut up. It was something, I said, okay, I will not say anything because it was something like crazy, but it was brave,
Yeah.
Fred was totally wasted. Screaming everywhere. It's something like a Norwegian bear,
I remember after the dog toothpaste incident, we wouldn't let him on the couch for about a week. Every time he got on the furniture, hey, dog, off the couch now. The other thing I did was we pulled into Walmart one day just to get some supplies, and Killjoy was still in his bunk. And I remember I went in and I went to the pet section and I bought him a squeaky toy and a leader and all this kind of stuff. That was great.
It was really funny guy. So it's he
Yeah.
always joking with Mirai. It's something like two children.
Well, he was crazy for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So, we were always saying you are crazier than me, but I meant it. He was crazy because the worst one was, I think it was in Norway. So we went to Euronymous' grave.
Yeah.
Probably we played for Inferno, and somebody
Inferno.
yes, somebody was driving a car, and in the back seat, Killjoy and the Emperor's drummer, the board Faust was in the middle, and then I was sitting. Then Killjoy started talking about Euronymous, how he loved him, and then he went on to say that all the act of murder should not be forgiven, and all the murderers should get karma and something like right next to board. So I was looking out of the window, like pretending not to hear it at all. So that was a defining moment. He was crazy for real. So, so yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So Adam, Katelin, anything else? Something. I'm sure it has to be something funny or positive.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys know, but KJ was kind of accident prone too.
Yeah.
And I remember we were getting ready to go over, I think it was Memorial Day or 4th of July, and the night before, we're just talking. I didn't hear from him for like 15 minutes. He's like, sorry, I cut my finger. I was like, oh crap, you okay? He's like, yeah, it's fine. So we show up the next day. Well, he was using hedge clippers in the yard, and he had sliced probably half an inch down.
Ah.
Towers of sparks, and
Yeah, we're like catching on fire, like
yeah.
tucking rolling to get it off of us and stuff.
Yeah, just having fun. Yeah, he was the best, like the best friend you could ever possibly think to have, and
Yeah.
everything was like turned up to 11 with him. Doesn't matter what it was. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know how we never got arrested. Like, no joke.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
his one house next door became abandoned, and there was just like a mass of slugs. I mean, there were just so many slugs everywhere. And he would videotape them and send them to me. He would just put like slugs and just like throw them against the wall and just acting ridiculous, like almost caught this house on fire and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was just constant like chaos. It really was.
Yeah.
It really was.
And then camping, him and I start cutting down the trees. I'm
Oh,
like, yeah,
my goodness.
at a state campground, you're not allowed to cut down trees. We ran out of firewood, and we're just like hacking away at trees and picking up all the leaves and burning everything. And he woke up the next day, and it was the cleanest campground you ever would have seen. We burned it all. It was like,
Yeah.
he said, it was like the Predator bomb went off at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It was clean.
Yeah.
It was just, everything was just so much fun with him. He was the best, always laughing,
Yeah.
always having a good time. He was the best. He really was.
Yeah. We would always laugh and make fun of each other's like bodies falling apart. And like, it's hard to explain unless you were there, but like if my knee was going out or something, you'd be like, you better watch your knees, like give me a fake cane to walk and stuff. Like, we would just constantly make fun of each other, like for our pains and aches. And he'd like throw a Bengay bottle at me and like hit me in the head. Like, just stupid shit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just always made fun of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the best. Absolutely.
Yeah. Good
He
one.
really was.
Yeah.
He was always with a smile on his face.
Yes.
Even if the situation was something like a crap.
Yeah.
Like we did in the American tour, it was a mess. He was always smiling, Is always joking.
Oh yeah.
It was a nice memory. I have a lot of memories. So we've been together with Mirai too for maybe 3 albums and 2 tours. So it's for a short time, but it has been always a really, really class time, Yeah. Even if we were always joking and something like this. So it's the last time I've been in America. We've been at Moroville Mall with the Goblin. Yes. I remember, and I was trying to catch him with Fred. So where is Killjoy? I will play in Pittsburgh, so it's close to the house. I said, no, he goes to the concert of Poison.
Yeah, we were there.
I said, what? What? I came from Italy, and it was crazy. I came from Italy. I want to meet him again. So no. He wanna see Poison. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, he loved Bret Michaels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bret Michaels. Right?
Yeah.
I was in the hotel room and with Fred, I said, wow, it's crazy. Why Poison? But it's okay because I like the band too. But it was crazy. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I know you told us some great stories, Jeff, but is there anything else you could think of that might be good way to get close to closing this up with?
Well, just to say that, I'm definitely going to finish that track Unholy that we were going to do together. I'm going to finish it off, get some guests in and whatnot, and just stick it up on YouTube as a tribute to him. But what I will say is, honestly and genuinely, he's one of the people in, well, I don't know, the 40 years I've been in this music industry, he's one of the people that I'm really glad that I met and I had some time with, And I mean, he was, like I say, I think probably socially we were poles apart, and, like I've said before, I was never that familiar with his music or whatever, but just as people, we connected. And we had something there. And even on the very last time we played America, they weren't supporting us this time round, but he drove all the way down to see us. And he spent most of the time with me as well, So he's definitely one of the people, I'm just glad to have met, nice guy. Just, that's all I can say. Just super nice guy,
Yeah, I actually remember at the Pittsburgh show when you were playing with Necrophagia, I came to the show and he was all excited, took me, backstage, and he introduced me to you really quickly and to Tony. He was just like super happy just to he knew that it would mean a lot to me to meet you guys and Venom Inc. and stuff, being a fan. And he just, without even, I didn't have to ask him or nothing, I was just hanging out because I don't like to bother people, it's just like, whatever. But he was insistent on, oh yeah, come downstairs, have a few drinks, and just say what's up to the guys and stuff like that. It was just a very nice thing to do because, I think the bottom line with Frank is that he just was just a good person, and he touched people, a lot of people he touched musically, but also, in a personal way, and I think it's really good to have you, Jeff, on here, who you don't really know the music, or wasn't really a part of it, but he still touched you in a way that was really important. And, think of it as somebody who was influenced by him and getting the opportunity to either perform with him or get to know him as a person. It's just such a great thing when you meet somebody, because you never know, like sometimes you don't want to meet like your heroes or bands you're fans of and stuff like that, because you realize they're kind of douchebags or something like that, or, whatever. So it's nice when you meet somebody, that I mean, like I said, by the time I met him, I was a fan of Necrophagia for, I don't know, 20 years. I don't remember how long exactly, but a long time. So to finally meet him and then have him be way cooler. And I regret not having the balls to really, become friends with him, because I did meet him a few times, but my personal way I guess to some extent, I'm like you, Jeff, where I'm kind of to myself, and I won't always go up to people. I just feel, I'm just weird about that, like it's not that I don't want, I don't appreciate it, but I just don't want to bother people, or, okay, it's cool, nice, meet somebody, but I don't really always take it too far, just because I don't want to, it's just the way I am. So the fact that I was able to break that boundary, and it was probably thanks to Adam and Katelin that really kind of got me to that point where I, I got to know him really well. It just was great, a great situation. Cause I don't even know if I mentioned it to those guys, but I was just like, I don't know, whatever. And Katelin and, Adam were just like, nah, it's cool or whatever. I can't remember exact words, but just
Yeah.
like, kind of telling me like, oh no, it's no problem to hang out with them. It's not like, it's going to be weird or any weird rock star stuff or whatever. And it just, well, yeah, once I did, it was just like, it's almost like we knew each other forever. Like it was just another good friend. And I think that's a wonderful thing. Like I said, repeating myself about Killjoy is that he touched people. He touched a lot of people with his music, but also just as a person, he's touched people in a positive way, which is an amazing feat. And again, I have to say that it just, it still bothers me that maybe he doesn't get the recognition he deserves for the accomplishments that he did musically. Put aside the fact he's a great person, but as just musically, he really did do some groundbreaking stuff in the extreme metal world. That he was doing stuff that wasn't done before he was doing it, regardless if it was because he couldn't do it because of no talent or whatever. But the fact is that he was doing stuff that wasn't done. And that's I mean, for me, some of the greatest bands and really any kind of music are the ones that are pushing the limits, expressing themselves in their own way and doing things that are kind of against the grain and stuff. Even though he was part of like a early version of what death metal was kind of morphing into, he still did it his way. It wasn't trying to be another Death or another Massacre or whatever other band you want to say. He was just he looked at things in a totally different way, but also at the same time was like it was one of those bands that is distinct, this important distinctive death metal band, but at the same time totally different than any other death metal band. And to me, that makes a great band is when you could, be classified as a death metal band, but at the same time, I never heard a death metal band that sounds the same as Necrophagia, old or the new stuff. And actually, before the show today, I listened to his Killjoy project, which I kind of dismissed at the time because it just hit me the wrong way when it first came out. But I listened to it, and it's actually really good. I mean, it actually reminds me a lot of like Nasty Savage or something like that, which and I wish I would have, appreciated a little more at the time. But at the time I was I was more on my own page of going more extreme or whatever. But anyway, that's a side note. But I guess before, we end this, if there's any last thing that anybody would like to say about, Necrophagia or Killjoy, I'd love to hear it. I know no pressure or nothing, but just, I want to make sure that, nothing is missed or forgotten, or anyone can get something off their chest or just something they feel they want to say,
Ooh. Well, I think for me, I think I've said my piece that, I think it was more as a person, and who knows, we might have done something together. We talked about it other than doing Unholy. We did sort of say, well, it would be fun to do something together. I was going to do some stuff and just send it over to him. And hey, it was, whatever happens with it happens, but like I say, for me, it was still more just on the personal level. He was just, like I say, one of the, I don't connect with a lot of people, not on that level. Let's put it that way, but I don't, and I can't even describe what it was about him. It was just that first day. You know how it is. Sometimes you walk into a room and there's one person where you just go, whoa, I don't like you.
Yeah.
And you don't know why. It was the complete opposite with him, and the same for him, And I mean, he there's nobody else from Venom Inc. here. He actually, on the last time he came down to see us, he said, oh yeah, I've come down to see the band, but it's all about you, and he gave me a hug, and I was like, hell, Killjoy, man, So, like I say, I can't describe what it was, but we, there was just something there. It was just something,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wish I had more time with him. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So
We all
there
do.
you go.
And
maybe I the only thing that I can thank to Frank is to give me the chance to talk with you now, with you guys, with John, because for me is Incantation or something like a really super cool band.
oh, thank
So
you.
it's yeah, you're welcome. And to have the chance to know Mirai since 2003. So it's crazy because
Yeah, it is.
I went to play in Japan for maybe 5 or 6 times with Goblin, and always had the chance to meet him, because it's for me it's crazy. That means that one person made this, connection. So connection.
Yeah.
I have last time I've been in Pittsburgh. I met Fred Vogel, his wife Shelby, all the people that are around Killjoy. So for me, it was something like a super emotional moment. I didn't care about the gig. I didn't care about it was a really super cool gig, but I had only the will to meet again Killjoy's friends, my friends, and so it's I don't know Adam and the girl, but it was super nice to meet you, because one person made this,
Absolutely.
connection. So even if he can start 1, 2, 3, 4, start to sing, but who cares? The personality was really good. Was really nice guy.
Yeah, it was not out measure or anything. Straight full beat, and he couldn't keep up at all.
That's why no one could probably replace him in the band ever, because no one can be off time enough.
And it's really good, because we need to play straight. And it was something like in another room, singing for another song. But it was so cool, so cool.
You should have tried working with our original drummer then.
That's the best combination, probably.
He was a really nice guy. Really nice guy.
Yeah,
really nice.
Yeah.
But I'll give you the worst memory about him. We roomed together in Florida around 2000, and somehow he started pissing all over the room. Probably he thought it was funny, but it was not at all. So it was horrible. He was always like that in the 5-year-old kid or something like that. It was really bad.
Pissing?
Yeah, yes. All over the room. Yes. On the bed and everywhere, on the chair, and he thought he was funny, but it was not at all. So
but he was pissing on time.
Yeah, I think that's why he got the dog toothpaste. Was he just cocking his leg everywhere?
Yeah, he was marking his territory in the room.
Yeah. Mirai.
Yes.
Mirai, you should have took him for walkies.
Yeah. That was my fault. Yeah.
Get some training pads.
Oh man, that's good.
Oh, brilliant.
He's singing in the hotel room, so in the bed. Crazy.
Oh God, excellent.
That's awesome. It's just really great to be able to, reminisce and talk about all the funny stories, and just it's a positive thing, because hopefully in his memory it brings people together, brings us together to be able to celebrate him, and definitely be great to see all you guys again, and just reminisce a little bit more. And it's just a great thing. It's all it's a tragedy what happened to him, having a heart attack and stuff. It's sad, but we also we're all very fortunate to have gotten to know him, gotten to work with him, got you got great music from him, and you know, fortunate enough to know him, you know, as a person. So it's just a great thing in general. So, you know, even though it's a terrible situation, you know, we could have never got to know him and never been able to share these kind of stories and stuff. So we're, you know, you got to try to find the silver lining in it. You know, I mean, it's sad. He's terribly missed, but at the same time, you know, he was so special that he is terribly missed at the same time. I don't know if that came across right. I don't know how to express myself that way. It's difficult, but yeah. So you know, we'll wrap this up, and I also want to thank you guys for being here. You know, I know it means a lot to all of us. You know, and something I had to do personally for myself, but I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. I know, you know, all of our time's very valuable and stuff. So it's really great to have you guys here. And thank you so much. And I guess I'll wrap this up. You know, just you know, try to, you know, check out the Necrophagia music, you know, that he's done throughout the year. I know, I think Season of Miss, a lot of his stuff's on now, so you check out them. And I don't know the other outlets necessarily where to get official stuff for Necrophagia, but just you know, try to do whatever you can to you know, support and check out his stuff. And besides that, the normal thing is just, you know, support, you know, the bands, you know, underground record stores, and just, you know, try to, I don't know, just, you know, check out the Venom Inc. site, the Sigh site. I don't know, what are you doing now, Titta?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm doing a really cool project that is called The Horror Legacy.
Okay.
Yeah. Mirai Mirai
thank me.
gave me gave me the pleasure to play on one song. It's called Cannibal Holocaust, that everyone knows. It's something like a tribute to the biggest compositors of horror music, you know.
Awesome.
So it's I have the best player from Fabio Frizzi. The guitar player is from another corporation like Goblin Rebirth is called, and I have some guests from all over the world. So it will be out. It will be out next year. So maybe next year or end of this year. So it's everything on our roots, you know, the horror.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool.
And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And Katelin, Adam, you guys have your tattoo shop, so give it a little plug while you're here.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Alter Ego Body Art Studio in outside of Pittsburgh in Castle Shannon area. Yep. I pierce Adam tattoos.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going really good. Thanks for that.
Thank you for that. That's great.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Like and subscribe to the channel. And once again, thank you guys so much for being here. Totally appreciate it. And thank you guys for checking it out. Support fucking metal, and don't be a poser.
Yeah. Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Don.
Don't sleep.
Yeah. Time to go to sleep.